Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you guys a quick rundown of the Bryophyta boss fight, one of the only out of two free-to-play bosses that was added to the game. We're going to show you what you need to kill the boss, how to get there. I also want to show you guys how the fight goes and what the operations are to ensure victory via demonstration. We'll take a minute to go over the wiki to show off the drop table so that you know about what the drops are. And finally, I also want to talk a little bit about getting those mossy keys in the first place. Firstly, you're going to need mossy keys themselves, but more on that later. All you need to know for now is that moss giants drop them. Now, Bryophyta's lair is deep in the Varrock sewers just east of Varrock Castle Courtyard Wall on the outside. You'll definitely need an axe, as well as food. You can locate the entrance to the sewers just northeast of the Varrock Fountain. If you are a member, congratulations! You are now eligible for poison damage, so members bring antidotes. Prayer potions, maybe, but seeing how the boss's attack drains prayer, I find this to be a waste of money as you are fighting an uphill battle against that prayer drain. This is the fight. I typically use melee, so I will mostly be showing my melee strategy. If you want to try magic or ranged, you might find more advice elsewhere. Tank magic and melee damage, and simply attack with no prayer. Only food is necessary, and of course an antidote if you are a member. That's basically it. Just eat food and tank the damage. However, Bryophyta spawns these growthlings, so hopefully you remembered that axe. You have to attack each growthling individually as they spawn randomly in groups of 3. When they are either at 1 or 0 HP, you can right-click Use on your axe and left-click on the growthling to finish it off. The animation is quick, so almost right after the chop animation, you can move on to attacking the next growthling. If you try to damage Bryophyta while these things are alive, she will take no damage. So yes, you do have to actually kill each one individually. If you enter the boss chamber without an axe, you will waste a mossy key, so just heads up for that. So only 3 items are necessary: the key, an antidote, and an axe. The rest of your inventory is for food and drops. I do recommend fighting the boss as a member, simply because of the ensouled giant heads that always drop. But if that's not necessary for you, it's still a similar profit per kill as a free-to-play player, and most of the significantly profitable drops are crossed between members and free-to-play worlds. I wanted to show the music for a minute here. I think it's pretty good. And I'd like to point out just how consistently good the old school RuneScape soundtrack is, even on the new content that they've added. It's also cool to note that this is a free-to-play boss, and I do hope that they add more free-to-play bosses. I think it's a great thing for the free-to-play community players to have. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering what's the best way to get mossy keys, well, as a free-to-play player, you will kill moss giants, any moss giants. However, there's a catch. There are moss giants in the Varrock City sewer dungeon, but the moss giants in the wilderness drop them twice as fast, with, of course, the risk of PKers added. So how do you deal with PKers? Is it worth the extra risk? What I like to do is just go in there with my full rune armor and about 10 nature runes for high-level alchemy and just risk it. This is what my inventory typically looks like when I go there. About 10 swordfish, some nature runes for alching, all while picking up as many of these chaos runes as I can. You can bank at Ferox Enclave, as long as Teleblock is not active. Occasionally you will get PK'd, but typically you will be able to outrun them, either back to the Enclave or all the way out of the wilderness if necessary. But I am a relatively high level and can defend myself pretty well. Also I have 99 agility, which helps a lot with running away from PKers. You might feel safer simply by bringing less gear, but I'd still recommend picking up Chaos Runes. You see, there are 6 Chaos Runes that consistently respawn in this area, and you can stack quite a bit as you kill the Moss Giants. and you will greatly increase your profit while farming these keys if you do so. This can take a while, so if you don't like the small addition of click intensiveness, suit yourself. I do not recommend coming here on a member's world, however, as there are much more PKers and they just have a lot more abilities that can stop you in your tracks. And your stack of Chaos Runes will only increase, which will increase your risk. So for once, the free-to-play strategy is in fact the better one. Once you hit about 200 Chaos Runes, it's usually a good time to go bank. I usually finish off with about 2 Mossy Keys per trip, and about 50k total in profit every time I go to the bank. This might be a difficult place to train if you are extremely low level, so maybe consider safe spotting them in the Varrock Sewer Dungeon. But I find the drop rate to be incredibly slow, plus there's the increased profit from Chaos Runes if you fight them in the wilderness, which I enjoy. By the time I had 80 Mossy Keys, I had over 10,000 Chaos Runes, which is a total value of about 1 million gold, which is quite good. That's not to mention the profit from other items that the Moss Giants drop as well. Overall, the profit is pretty good, but the time it takes to farm the Mossy Keys makes this boss far from the most favorable gold per hour option. It is, however, one of the best free-to-play money-making methods, combined with not only the Bryophyta drops, but also from the Moss Giants you will be getting while farming the Mossy Keys, especially if you choose to pick up the Chaos Runes. It's too bad I was not lucky enough to get the 12 million value drop Bryophyta's Essence. However, with my current kill count, I feel like I've gotten a decent enough profit to recommend the boss to any lower level player looking for a good challenge with decent profit, especially if you are not a member. I'd recommend starting with maybe 5 to 10 Mossy Keys, see how you feel. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.